Hi, this is my video on repairing a Thrustmaster T300 with force feedback fading, going away and coming back. So what was happening was we was using the wheel for an hour or so, and the force feedback would just suddenly go, and then it might come back in a few minutes later. It would come and go. I gave it a tap once and it came back again, and so I thought, I wondered if it was just the fan wasn't working properly, so it's overheating, so cutting out, or what it was. So I decided to look on some videos online, and it pointed to some things that are typical with this wheel. So I'm going to show you. I'll show you what the fault with this is and what I've done to fix it so far. So I've already taken most of the screws out of this, but I'm just going to show you in case you're completely beginner on this, taking this apart. The wheels are interchangeable. You can get different wheels for the Thrustmaster series of bases, and this wheel can be removed, another wheel put on, and it's got this collar. It's got a collar on here. I'll show you. So there's a screw that screws down. I've unscrewed this, that holds this collar, that screws on quite tight, and what you do is you undo the screw and then you loosen off the collar like this, unscrew it, and then the wheel comes off. There's the thread there, and it can only really go in one way. There's a connector in there, a 6-pin connector with a thing in the middle, and it can only go one way in here, so you can't put it in the wrong way round. And then what you do is you take 4 screws out of that, and this comes off here like that, and then 2, 3, 4, 5 screws on the bottom there, and then you pull this forward a bit and up to get it off like that. That's a bit of a crack there, but that's fine. It comes up and forwards. That reveals the inside, and here you have the force feedback motor, and here you have the pulley and a cog and a couple of runners here to help with some tension. Feels a little bit loosish, but it's fine, not coming off at all. Doesn't really go up much, you can't pull it up off. You might be able to adjust it with these four screws. You can adjust this plate, move it up a little bit to make this a bit tighter, but I'm leaving it like it is. And you can get replacement car, you can get a metal one, I've seen, and these plastic runners you can get bearings, ball bearing bearings to go on there in replacement of this. It just makes all this with the belt run smoother. I don't really need to get that far, not right this time. And so what it is this is the fan. I've taken it off already, as you can see, but the fan goes on there, sort of like this, and you can see on the sides of the fans it has arrows. So there's an arrow, you can see that points up, and an arrow that points that way. So the flow of air has been sucked from here and going that way, so it's on that way around, blowing onto the motor. But they do have apparently a common problem of overheating, and that's what I thought it might be, was overheating. So I wasn't sure if this fan was working. They did say that you can put it into fan on all the time mode by pushing 2 buttons. It may only be on the PC. It's supposed to work on, according to Google, it works on the PS5 as well, but I couldn't get it to work. I think I heard the fan in the past, but I couldn't get it to work. I thought, oh, maybe the fan's dead. So I took the fan off, and this is a motorcycle battery that off of my motorbike, which is in winter storage at the moment. And I connected a couple of wires from the battery to the connector here, because it's a 6-volt fan, and try it, and it works fine. So there is a possibility, of course, that the driver for the fan, I think it's called the head unit on the fan, is for the fan might be dead. But I'm sure I've heard it working in the past. Anyway, so that fan is actually all right. And then, so I thought, oh, okay, what else is it? This motor is here, which, like I say, is the force feedback motor, and this is the hall sensor, and the hall sensor goes on there like that. There's 2 screws holding it on. You take these 2 screws out and take this off, and then what I did was I checked, because this base for the hall sensor tends to break and crack, and apparently it only needs a very slight hairline crack for things to move. Then the sensor gets confused about where everything is, and that makes the force feedback stop or go funny. And apparently this cracking or breaking is the base fault for many different problems. People say that when it does the calibration startup, when you first start the wheel up and it turns and turns, some people have had the wheel just keep turning and never stop the calibration, and all sorts of other weird things. And they say it's all to do with this. So what I did, I took a look at it, and I'll put some pictures up on the screen now. And I found that it was cracked on this one, on this particular point where the screw goes in here. It was sort of, you could see it's a big chunk that looked like it was going to break off. And then when I looked even closer, I found a hairline crack on this side, just hairline. And they say all it needs is a hairline crack for it to start playing up. I looked on the other side, on this one, I couldn't see anything on this one. So you can buy a replacement hall sensor base on eBay, and I bought one. It was like £9. I think with postage it came to £11 or something. That's not here yet, but I bought one anyway. And then when I was looking at it, I was thinking, oh, now what I've done before is I've fixed things on my car, like a thing that broke off the headlight that holds the headlight in, and also on a motorbike I used to have, the part of the frame had snapped where the side panel goes on, where it clips into the side panel, goes boop. It's a little knobble on the frame, and it had broken off and was stuck in the side panel. And what I used to fix those things was this Milliput. It's a 2-part epoxy putty. You might have seen it on my other video when I was doing a repair on my headlight, if you watched that. But if you're here just for this is the first time you've seen it. What it is, you get 2 sticks of this sort of flexible putty. There's a black one, and this one looks sort of green. I've had this for years, so it might look a little bit lighter originally, but it still works. And you break off equal amounts of each bit and mix it together. So what I do is I just do it in my hands, and I roll it in my hands. I break it apart, fold it, roll it in my hands until it's like one colour. So it's like a dark grey colour. And then when it's all mixed in, you put it on where you want it, and when it goes off, it sets just like stone or like metal. It just sets really hard. Like on a motorbike, on the frame thing, I wasn't sure it was ever going to work, because it's quite a hard push to push the side panel onto that knobbly bit that was on the frame, that frame bit. So I put it around the frame bit on the bike, and it works. It didn't break. It was rock solid. It was just like a weld. It's like welding things. It's really amazing stuff. And the same with the headlight on the car. So what I've done, I'm sure you can see here, is I've put this stuff, that's why this is looking chunky. I put that epoxy resin, is it resin or it's putty, sorry, epoxy putty, all around this, because what I did also then when I touched it, after I saw that the bit was breaking off, I took the sensor off, took the screws out, took the sensor off, and I touched it and it just started to break off completely in my hands. I thought, ah, damn. So I put it back, so I rested it on there, got the epoxy putty, went all around it and put it on. And I thought, well, this side hasn't got any cracks, but it makes sense to do this, to beef this side up as well. So they're both a lot beefier than they ever were. It doesn't mean that other parts of this can't break, because I think the replacement thing, everything is thicker. So this is I'm just gonna use it like this, and when the replacement comes, I'm not going to put it on. I'm just going to keep using this until this breaks, and then I'll replace the whole thing. So I think if you replace the base, the whole base, you have to recalibrate somehow. You have to plug it into a PC, have a recalibration software that you can download from Thrustmaster, and recalibrate the Hall sensor with the motor and everything. And also the motor inside here, it's got a lot of glue, and if this overheats, the glue melts, and then this shaft that goes all the way through can move, and that also obviously creates the same sort of problems, which is why I'm replacing the fan. This is a common upgrade, is to replace the fan. So I've got this. It's the same dimensions in this way, 60 by 60 millimeters, but instead of 10 millimeters, it's 25. So you've got much thicker blades, and so it's given a much better blast. There's a little story I've got with this. Is I was looking on Amazon and I couldn't find one that I wanted, and I found this on eBay. It was £13, but I thought, you know what, it's worth £13. I bought this wheel just recently. Probably the reason the guy sold it is because of this fault of the force feedback disappearing. So rather than selling it as spares or repairs, he just put it on bidding, and he didn't mention it. I was going to send it back, but in the past I used to repair PS4s and things like that. I used to buy them, broken ones, fix them up, PS3s and PS4s, fix them. That was overheating problems normally as well, and with dry joints on the boards. I used to fix them and then resell them fixed. And I never had one come back, so I used to do all right with doing that, and I sold quite a few. So I thought, well, why don't I just see if I can fix this? That's why I looked up all the YouTube videos on how to fix Thrustmaster T300 problems. So I got this cheap, so if I sent this back, I would then have to buy another one, and this was, I think I paid £112 for this, which actually, with a set of pedals, but only a 2-pedal set, a brand new 2-pedal set. So I don't know, the guy obviously kept the pedals, so maybe he's bought another bass. Yeah, anyway, so, but that's fine. But it was still a good price. I mean, you can buy broken ones of these for 100 quid. So that was pretty cheap. I mean, I'll have to spend 150 or 200 quid to get another decent wheel. It looks like it's good. And then you never know how much it's been used and whether it's going to have some problems. So to me, it's logical. If I just fix this one up, it's going to be fine, and I'll get years more use out of it. So that's the plan, and it's you know, not costing me much, right? So it's like £12, £11 or something for a new base that's come in that I may or may not use, or I may buy a broken one and fix it up and resell it. Who knows? And I'm going to change the fan, another £12. But the story with this fan is, I got it from eBay for, as I say, £13, and then it was coming, supposed to be like here, like yesterday or whatever, and I had a note come up on eBay saying, oh, it's delayed, it might not be here till Monday. And I thought, oh, that's no good. I want it before the weekend to do a bit of racing. Perhaps my friend will come over and we take turns racing. And I thought, oh, I want it working. That's really nice. So I went on eBay and I found the exact same fan for £9. I thought, oh. So I thought, I'll buy that. And I saw on eBay, because I thought, oh, it's coming from China, right, obviously. So I sent a message saying, I can see it's coming late. I said, can you go ask? And on eBay it said, sticker printed, but it's not been collected or anything. And I said, can I cancel the order? I heard nothing back. Then the next morning it came. He said, I just had a message from him saying, it was posted in your letterbox. Oh, that's weird. Because all of the things when I did the tracking online was some weird company. But it came, of course, you might have guessed it, in an Amazon package. So the guy's doing what they call drop shipping. It's not illegal and it's allowable under eBay rules. There's nothing you can do about it. But there's a warning, you know, whenever you find something you like and it's on eBay, check on Amazon to see if it's on there as well. It's probably cheaper. If it is. It's not always, but sometimes it is. So I ordered the one from eBay as well, and then this one came. And I thought, ah, oh, it's sort of like scamming you, really. I thought, well, I could send the Amazon one back, but then I thought, no, you know what? I won't. I'll keep it. So it's cost me like 30 quid. So the wheels now cost me 140. That's all right for a wheel that I know is good. Hopefully, I'm going to know it's good. We'll find out. I think that's worth the price. So that was a story in why I've got two of these. So my plan is, I'm going to put this one in here, and it's the same size, 60 by 60. It's just a bit deeper, so there's no problem with this being there. It will take in. It's a common upgrade that people do to stop the overheating. But I saw another one of the videos I watched was a guy who, instead of putting the fan, a replacement fan, instead of putting that there, he put it here. So he cut a hole in here, actually at the back, and screwed the fan in there, so it was sucking the hot air out. So what I'm going to do, belt and braces style, bit over engineered maybe, is I'm going to put two fans in, and it'll be sucking and blowing the hot air out. So I have air blowing on the motor, and from here, and another fan here blowing the hot air out. I don't think one will override the other particularly. So that's the plan. So it's only got one connector for a fan down there. It's just a standard. This is a standard PC. You don't have to buy a fan specifically for the Thrustmaster. This is a standard PC fan basically. And the fan, what they call the head unit, so the little board that controls the fan, has a maximum amp rating. The fan that's original in here is 0.25 amps, 12 volt, 0.25 amps. And this, funny enough, a bigger fan, but it's only 0.2 amps. Apparently, this is Chinesium, of course. So, is it? I don't know. But the head unit, or most head units, I haven't looked up the specifics on this detail, but most head units are up to 1 amp apparently. So two fans comes to 0.4 amps. So it's like, and even if it's more than it says, it's never going to be more than 5 with these two bigger fans. So it should be able to handle it no problem. I mean, the fans will work at the same time because I'm going to basically plug up this wire into the board, and I'm going to snip it there, and then on the other fan I shall also snip the wire, and I've got connectors to connect the wires together, so the black and the reds from both of the fans connect to the black and red, go into the one socket. So when the fan comes on, when it's hot, all the fans will come on at the same time. So if you appreciate my efforts and my details, please like and subscribe. So it'll either be there or there. I think I want it like there. That's what I think. Something like that. I can drill some holes there, there, and there. Because if the other fan is too fat, say, downwards, I don't think it is, I can always use the original one. Because the hole will be fitting it just the same. Because it's less depth. So. What size are these? 4. That's a 4mm. Not too bad. That'll be great. Down. Clack. Click clack. There you go. Yeah. Bad. I'm quite pleased with that. 2 fans. The base of the sensor hopefully fixed. Let's see. Needs a thorough testing. As it will. It looks pretty much like it should be there. A hole in the top with that fan. It's pretty like a professional job. I'm now going to test it to find out. If you get really close, you can see the gnarly edges. But I'm sure if you do your own, you can make that nice and neat. And the wiring inside that I did for the fans, I'm sure you can make that neater as well. I was just learning as I was going. So now I'll test it. I'm just waiting for the download of the new update for GT7. Okay, update. Maybe the final one. I noticed, I'll put a picture on the screen, that when I had this large fan and the other one like it in the casing, when I closed the casing, the 2 fans, the fan and the casing came down and was like blocking the fan, keeping it cool. And also it was making this space really tight, so I think it was overheating more than it was before because I made the space so small, which is why fans were coming on and blowing hard, and it was fading a lot. So that actually made it worse with my over engineering. So what I've done is I've put the original fan from the thing back in, which is obviously half the width, and it doesn't encroach in this space. Now I just went and raced 2 races on Tokyo, so that's about an hour, on force feedback 6. And I feel the motor now at the moment, it's still quite warm. On force feedback 6, and it didn't fail. It didn't fade at all. So I turned it up to force feedback 7, which is what I had it on originally. Raced another 2 full Tokyos, that's another full hour, and again, no fading. Maybe on lap 9 there I could feel a slight fade, then it came back again. So, and I didn't have this wired up. I thought I'd just see how it fails with just this fan, if this fan does the job. But the fan never had to kick in. So I think making the extra breather holes, and also it's got a breathing hole in the top where that fan is really as well. I think that's helped with the cooling. So possibly you can just make extra breathing holes in the casing and your Thrustmaster T300 might be alright. I was just going over the top looking at what everyone has done. So now I've wired up the old fan anyway, and for sucking, because it's going to be up, it will now literally be up here and not in the way. And the fan will be able to blow on there quite well. So we'll see. I'll give it another testing tomorrow, I think. A few hours testing. See what happens. But looking good so far. Alright. There it is. So with the holes in the side, extra breathing capability. So this side air can come in. And this side more air can get blown out with those holes. So the fan on top. All seems to be working well. Okay, so this is a final update to this video. So as I last had the T300 with the original fan in the cover and the big fan replacing the original fan blowing onto the motor. Now I just played an hour and a half of WTC 600 the Tokyo. That's half an hour race, 26 minutes. So I've had an hour and a half of that on force feedback 7, and I have the other one, I can't remember the other one is, detail or something, on 4 or 5 for an hour and a half. And on the last race, on the last lap, I had force feedback fade. It went for about half a lap. The fans kicked in. It lasted about half a lap, and then it all came back. So it's a bit annoying that it still does it. It's a bit annoying that you have something that you buy that's supposed to use for hours on end, and then you still have to fiddle with it in order to get it to not malfunction. I think that's a bit sad. But I do like Thrustmaster in general. He's a T150 that I still have is awesome. I think this wheel is awesome. So what I've done is I've put the force feedback down to 6. And I'll test it some more, but the other day I ran it for 2 hours on force feedback 6, and it didn't fade at all. So maybe it's because it's on force feedback 7 that decided to fade. I'm not sure. It may be something you have to par with, which is really annoying. Which probably means if that is the case, and it doesn't stop doing that, because when my friend comes around and we race, we use GT7. We start about 5:30, 6 o'clock in the evening. We play till 12 or 1 o'clock in the morning. And a T150 always worked fine for all of those years doing that. And yeah, this wheel was working but started to fade. Yeah, it's a bit of a shame. So I'll see. I'll carry on. I might give out another video, but it may mean that ultimately I'll have to go to a direct drive, one of the direct drives at work, without having fade. Looking on the internet, I can't remember what they mentioned now, there's a Fanatec that's made for the Thrustmaster, and it's what do you call it, it's incorporated with Thrustmaster. Thrustmaster have said that it is one for their system, so they've approved it, that's the word I'm looking for. It is approved by Thrustmaster. And there is another, oh sorry, it is approved by Gran Turismo, sorry, not Thrustmaster. Fanatec that's approved by Gran Turismo and PS5 themselves, but that's like minimum If on a cheap second-hand one for like over 500 quid, so it's quite a lot of money. But there is another Thrustmaster, a GT2, and it says GT on it because it is approved by PS5 and Gran Turismo, and that's a Thrustmaster GT2, and that is a belt driven, but it's very well made apparently, and it doesn't get fade. I haven't seen reports of it anyway, looking online. There is the T598, which is direct drive, but looking on the internet, it came up with, yes, that can fade as well after some time of use. So it's a little bit disappointing. So whether I try, because it would be cheaper to get a GT2 than it would be to get a Fanatec. Unless Fanatec want to give me their PlayStation and Gran Turismo approved wheel and pedals to test out to keep, that would be great, and I'll do a nice video on that. But I do like Thrustmaster still. The wheel is good, it's great to use. As you might have seen in the video, I've got some TLCM pedals, I think it's TLCM, which are the load pedals, which I bought recently as well, which cost me 110 quid or so, 150 quid maybe for those, something like that. So I spent a reasonable amount of money. Overall, I think I spent about 260 quid on a new set of pedals and wheel. The pedals are great. I've ordered a new data cable for the pedals though, because I'm not sure if the pedals faded a bit sometimes, or a couple of times. But otherwise than that, it's good. And the Thrustmaster's good apart from the fading also on the force feedback. Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see how it is. If it goes 2 hours and fades for a couple of minutes, it's back again. Okay, it's, it's a better wheel, but that just ultimately just pisses me off really. So I will be looking to get a wheel that doesn't fade. Leave in the comments all your comments. I've watched all the videos, and they say, oh yeah, I put the fan in the cover and moved the normal fan just to the cover, and said, oh, I've never had any problems since. I don't know how that's possible really. And people that have said they've put the bigger fan in, but obviously didn't make any more holes in the cover, and said, oh, I haven't had any problems since. But it definitely improved with the last, not this time I used it, but last time I used it with on force feedback 6. So I did an hour on force feedback 6 or 3, an hour and a half. Then the last, I can't remember now. The last I did 2 hours anyway, and it didn't fade at all. Yeah, I said maybe it did on one of the laps, but it didn't. The fans didn't kick in. So maybe it's because the force feedback was a bit less. So also a bit disappointing. You've got force feedback up to a maximum of 10, but yet you have to have it on 6 in order to be able to use it for hours on end without it failing. I do find that a bit disappointing. But there we have it, and that's where I am. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Please leave comments and ideas and your experiences with the T300, good and bad. I just want to hear from people who are like, oh, I don't like it. I want to hear from people who genuinely say that it hasn't faded on them. That'd be interesting to see what they've done and all that sort of thing. So this is just my experience. This is a second-hand wheel. It might have been well used before. I had to fix the base as well. I've got the new base, but I haven't fitted it because I don't think it's any stronger than the base I've got, but I can try that. But I don't think it'll make any difference because I fixed it with the milliput. It's solid. I don't think that's the case. I think it's just overheating. That's what I think. So yeah, I'll leave it there. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Like I say, leave any comments, any ideas, and your experience with other wheels as well, ones that you've had that definitely do not have fade, that aren't £1,000. Alright, thanks very much. See you later.